everyone. Thank you for tuning into today's video. The season starts in 2 days! As bad as the Devils are going to be this year, I don't really care. I just miss watching them play. It's been too damn long. Then again, probably by February, I'm going to be so bored with this team that I won't even bother watching the games. Nah, I still will be. With rosters being due to the NHL at 5 p.m. Eastern Time on Tuesday, so today, the Devils have holes that needed to be filled. Some of the guys who are on the roster bubble found out yesterday that they got cut through all the waiver transactions. Fans were questioning why Merkley got sent down, being that he had a pretty good camp, and including myself, I thought he was pretty much a lock to make this team. He spent a lot of camp playing with Zajac, and it seemed like it was working for the most part. I mentioned in a video I posted a while ago about candidates to make the team and how if Merkley did make the team, Zajac would be perfect for him on the third or fourth line. Clearly, Lindy and his staff didn't see enough of him, so he got sent down to Binghamton. Luckily for Devils fans, he went unclaimed today, so he's still on the team. There was some speculation that Arizona would try and claim him again and bring him back to the desert, being that he was a draft pick of the Coyotes, but he's still on the Devils. But anyway, today's video is my prediction for the Devils lineup. I'm going to start with the forwards, then go to the D, then the goalies, and then predict the taxi squad. I just want to preface this by saying this is the lineup when the Devils are fully healthy and they have the best team. So this is going to be like Bratt, Hischier, Vatanen, all those guys. Without further ado, let's get into it. The top six is pretty predictable, starting off with the first line. I have Johnsson on the left, Bratt on the right, and Hischier in the middle. Johnsson, who's a former 20-goal scorer, I think would be a perfect fit for the other two European Devils. And Bratt's a skill guy who's honestly one of the best playmakers on the team, and Nico is a great two-way center who also can make plays. So putting Johnsson with these two, I think, can work really well. Plus, Mango said he wants to play big-time minutes that he couldn't get in Toronto, and he will have the opportunity to show that here and make the most of it. People will probably criticize me for not putting Gusev with Nico and Bratt, but to be honest with you, it could be swapped either way, and I'd be pretty okay with it. So that brings me to the second line. This one was also pretty easy to do because you just take whoever didn't make the first line and you just put them on the second line. Like I mentioned, I have Gusev on the left, Palmieri on the right with Hughes centering. See, pretty straightforward. You can mix and match basically the entire top six and it would be fine. But being that this is my video and it's my rules and that's what I'm doing. You can honestly mix and match the top six any way you want, but being that it's my video, I'm doing it my way, and you are going to like it. If you think I'm wrong or stupid or something, go make your own video, troll. The argument I can make for switching Gusev and Johnsson would be that Hughes should be playing with a more experienced NHLer, but I think Gusev is the better player. Next is the third line, and this is really where the fun begins. The entire bottom six has holes in it except for really Zajac. And Zajac will always play unless he's hurt. So right now, there are like 8 or 9 guys fighting for 6 spots, and here's how it'll shake out. I think the Devils will give Jesper Boqvist a shot at center, being that he's been there all of camp, really, and he's actually looked pretty good. His line mates will be Sharangovich on the left and Kuokkanen on the right. Does anyone know of a nickname for Sharangovich? It takes like 10 minutes to say his name. Like, geez. On behalf of all Devils media, someone think of a nickname for this guy. Make it a ton easier to say. Getting back to the Lions, you can really make the argument that this is the best line that has been in camp. They were so consistent and they looked like they were clicking really well together. Take it for what it's worth, being that it's only in scrimmages, but Sharangovich has scored multiple goals in the scrimmage games that they've played and really looks like he's working well with Boqvist and Kuokkanen. Plus, he can be a great penalty killer for this team, so that only helps his stock. And finally, a spot where Miles Wood and Pavel Zacha belong. The fourth line. The fact that the previous coach, who shall not be named, thought it was a good idea to give Miles Wood a chance on the second line was only a dark fever dream that became a reality for this fan base. This is where Wood belongs, and he's honestly a great power forward with great speed, but he shouldn't even be sniffing the top six. Zacha, too. I mean, I don't really have to tell you who we passed over to get this guy, but now we're stuck with him. But see, the thing is, Zacha isn't that bad of a defensive forward, and he's a bigger body that can provide the bare minimum of offense if needed, not to mention he can play center. And then there's Zajac centering them. Zajac's nickname should be SpongeBob's jellyfish net because he is good old reliable. So those are my forwards lines. Let's move to the blue line. The entire defense is very complicated in its own right, especially there's really a question mark at every position. The first D pairing consists of Ryan Murray on the left and PK Subban on the right. Yeah, the right. There might be some debate here on whether Damon Severson should play with Ryan Murray on the top pair, but I'll get into why I didn't put them together a little later. I think if Murray is healthy, this can be a pretty good top pairing. I'm not saying it's top 5 in the league, but it's the best top pairing we've had in a while and might be one of the better ones in the league, to be honest. All aboard for a PK Subban 2021 Norris Trophy. Nah, but I do think he will have a bounce back year. He can't really be worse than last year. The next pairing I have is Ty Smith with Damon Severson. Remember how I said I would explain later? It's later now. This pairing was showcased a lot, and it turned out to be a pretty good one. They both looked very comfortable together, and they showed that they had pretty good chemistry with each other. During this camp, Smith has shown that not only does he look good, but that he belongs here, which is something that he lacked in the previous 2 training camps. And being that Smith is a rookie defenseman in the NHL, I wanted to pair him with a solid, experienced partner. I wanted to avoid putting him with Carrick or Kulikov for that reason, but with that said, both PK and Severson can both play with him, and I would be fine with that. And the third pairing is Will Butcher and Sami Vatanen. Notice the lack of enthusiasm I had saying that. And here we come to our first noticeable weak link with this team. There are probably others, but this one is completely oblivious to anybody. It is what it has to be, but yeesh, these 2 guys are not going to be leading in the league in plus minus. I'll tell you that. Vatanen isn't a horrible defenseman, but Butcher really dropped off offensively, and his defense was just atrocious to begin with. Hopefully these guys aren't as bad as I'm trashing them for, but I think a lot of people can agree with me here. The next part of this video is the goaltending. This is actually one of the easier things to predict, even with Crawford retiring. Blackwood and Wedgwood are the clear 1 and 2 for this team, but the question has become who's going to become the third goalie. It came out earlier today that the Devils had claimed former Winnipeg Jet Eric Comrie from waivers. He's a 25-year-old former second rounder in 2013, and he played with the Winnipeg Jets and Detroit Red Wings organizations the last 3 years. He absolutely does not have good NHL numbers, but I think he's here so that Sen and Cormier can get that time in Binghamton and develop. Funny story about Comrie, actually. For the longest time, I thought Comrie was Cormier. And being that he was a second-round pick, I was kind of hyped thinking the Devils had him. But then I realized Comrie was on Winnipeg, and Cormier was on the Devils. I think it makes a ton of sense that I messed it up since their names look exactly the same. Not to mention their first names start with E and have 4 letters in it. Clearly both their parents really hate us. So wrapping up the video is the Taxi Squad. For those who don't know, the Taxi Squad is a roster expansion that allows teams to carry 4 to 6 more players after they clear waivers. Major League Baseball did a similar thing in their season where they had a 5 to 6 player taxi squad just in case someone on the team got COVID and they needed an emergency call up. This is probably where Merkley is going since he went unclaimed off waivers, so he's one of the 5 players that are going here. The taxi squad for the Devils will consist of Michael McLeod, Nathan Bastian, Dmitry Kulikov, Connor Carrick, and Eric Comrie, along with Nick Merkley. I would assume at some point McLeod and Bastian would go down to Binghamton when the season starts, but they're here for now and they can still practice with the team. So that will do it for this video. Thank you very much if you decided to stay the entire time. Not only should you like and subscribe, you should comment for what you thought of the video and other stuff that you want to see. With that said, I'll talk to you guys in the next video. Let's go Devils. Sean out.